Hey, how's it going tonight? I'll just give everybody a quick second to tune in here and tell a quick joke while I'm at it. Navy SEAL walks into a bar. How do you know? They tell everybody. Hey, alright, hey, I'm just kidding. I love those guys. They're doing great things for the movie industry right now. Hey, firstly, before I talk anymore about lesson number 2, I just want to thank everybody so much for the encouragement that I received last week. Almost 6,000 people tuned in to last week's video, and I got so much positive feedback. It was absolutely incredible. Now, there's something that I normally don't tell people. I get incredibly nervous doing this, going in front of people, sharing my experiences, and being very transparent about my emotions. So the more that I get that encouragement, that feedback, the more it makes me want to get out there and go out and do this. So thank you so much to everybody that tuned in. Now, last week, we talked about lesson number 1, which was take the hard road, it's worth it. And I learned that through my decision to join the military, through Special Forces training, and then when I finally earned my Green Beret. And, earning my Green Beret was one of the greatest things, one of the greatest emotions and experiences I'd ever felt in my life. But there was one thought that kind of plagued me throughout the whole Special Forces training course, even up until earning my Green Beret, was, did the training need to be as hard as it was? It was definitely the hard road, but it needed to be as hard as it was. For so long throughout the Q course, I would walk around the woods of North Carolina with a 50-pound rucksack on my back, going up and down the hills, not eating or sleeping for days on end, and waging mock battles against other students in these woods. And so I could just never shake the thought, do we really need to be doing all this? Were my instructors there to teach me or to torment me? And so I can never quite understand, why it had to be as difficult as it was. And then a couple days after graduation, I was like so excited. I was a new kid, or I was a kid on Christmas morning with all his new toys. I had my Green Beret, and I ran into one of my tormentors / instructors that I had during one of my phases of training. And I went up to him and I talked to him, just absolutely incredibly excited. That was a Green Beret, and I was hopefully going to Afghanistan soon. And so, as we started talking, I'm going on and on, just very excited, like a kid in a candy store. And then he finally stops me after me talking for 2 or 3 minutes, and just looks me dead in the eye, and he says, "Flake, you be careful what you wish for, because you just might find yourself in Afghanistan in a firefight so intense, you wish you could cut the buttons off your BDU top to get closer to the ground." Now, in less than a year's time, I would come to understand the message that he was trying to relate to me that day. And I would also come to understand another lesson. The training that I went through indeed needed to be as difficult as it was. Because instead of carrying 50-pound rucksacks up and down hills, we were using we were carrying 80 to 100 pounds of gear up and down mountains. The bullets, we weren't using blanks anymore. The bullets were real. The consequences were grave, and they were final. When you made a mistake, somebody paid for it, either being seriously maimed and wounded or killed. And so I started to realize that things happened for a reason. Everything that I went through in the Special Forces course happened for a reason, and its sole purpose was to prepare me to go to Afghanistan, prepare me for war. But it wasn't just to prepare me, myself, in a singular sense. It was to prepare me to serve the greater good and to be on a Special Forces team where people depended on me. And there were certain missions that were so long and the firefights so intense that I found myself thanking God that I had been trained in the severest of schools. Because if I hadn't been, then I would have quit in the moment that people needed me most. Now, thankfully, I learned this lesson through training and deployments, because I had to really seriously apply this to my recovery process. Now, when I was put under initially for my first surgery after I was shot, I thought that I was going to die, and I thought that those were my last few minutes on Earth. But when I woke up, I was absolutely astonished that I was alive. It was one of the best feelings I had ever felt in my entire life. It was practically indescribable. To go to sleep thinking you're going to die, and then to wake up realizing you're alive and you have your whole future in front of you is amazing. Your colors are brighter, food tasted better, and music just sounded sweeter. But after a while, the reality of my situation started to sink in. And I realized just how difficult my process or my recovery was going to be. And I realized that there was a chance that I was going to be in pain for the absolute rest of my life. And I started to realize that, I wouldn't be the same man that I was before. And I sank into a very deep and dark depression. And as I spiraled deeper and deeper into this depression, I became very cynical and bitter, especially towards people that I thought were happy, because I was certainly not happy with my situation. And as I went deeper and deeper into the throes of depression, I started to try to think a little bit about my deployments, some of the lessons I had learned. And I came to realize that the lesson that I had learned through training and deployments, that things happen for a reason, could also be applied to my recovery. And when I started to think that way, I started to focus on the positives more than the negatives. So yes, would I ever be the athlete that I used to be? Absolutely not. But I'm still alive. I can still go out and play with my kids. I have my wife, my family, my friends. And I started to understand that I was going through all of this for a purpose, to prepare me for the rest of my life, to teach me humility and teach me empathy, and to give me this incredible experience and to appreciate life, and not to learn these lessons that I can go forth and try to help give everybody else and try to tell my story so that other people will be inspired by it. And so I know that every single person that's watching this has either gone through incredibly tough times or is currently going through it. And I also know that from the outside looking in, it's very easy for me to say to you to look for the positive and understand that things happen